No sign of local legend Big Tom in Castleblaney today, but there was a big crowd for this high-stakes encounter, a win essential for Monaghan to avoid relegation. Defeat to Dublin dented Donegal's semi-final hopes. Victory here will put them back in the mix for a last four place. This was Donegal's first time since 1985 to play in Castleblaney, but it didn't take them long to get going. Ryan McHugh's point helping his team to a 4 points to no-score lead. And Rory Gallagher's team went on to underline their dominance with a 20th minute goal from Martin McElhenney. Donegal 1-4 to no score up. But Monaghan's response was immediate as they opened their scoring with a much needed goal from Daniel McKenna. Would this be the score that would kickstart their challenge? Well, the Farney County were getting a foothold in the game on the run to half-time, and this superb effort from Conor McManus meant it was a 3-point lead for Donegal at half-time, 1-7 to 1-4. The second half proved to be a thrilling affair. Anthony Thompson's point restoring a 3-point lead for Donegal on 44 minutes, but remarkably, Donegal didn't score again. Ryan McAnespie's point, followed on by a Conor McManus free, made it a 1-point game. Serious momentum behind Monaghan now. And the home supporters were urging their team on. McManus's 6th point of the day, tying up the game with 5 minutes left. Monaghan needed the win though. A draw would not be enough, and it was Colin Walsh who landed what proved to be the match-winning score. Nerves of steel from the defender from Duhamlet. Great scenes of celebration at the final whistle as Monaghan pull off a final day escape. Donegal still through to the semi-finals. Monaghan 1-10, Donegal 1-9, the final score.
Never be
a great way to finish, and it's a great boost for us. And to say, when we were 7 points down early on in the game, it wasn't looking great for us, but you know, we really battled back there, played some good football, we controlled a lot of the play in the second half, and I think we deserved our victory.
Today's fixture between Roscommon and Dublin was subsequently moved to Carrick-on-Shannon. The late decision causing disruption for hundreds of travelling supporters, many of whom had to be shuttled between the two grounds.
We reach Roscommon and we find out we have to hire a bus. So there's 55 in that bus, cost €10 each. So are we going to reimburse for the €10? I don't know.
The move away from the Hyde didn't seem to affect the Roscommon team as they started the brighter. An exchange of passing involving Senan Kilbride and Donald Shine was finished off by a Niall Daly hand pass for the opening score of the game. Kieran Murtha registered Roscommon's 2nd point before Dean Rock got Dublin off the mark on 11 minutes with his quick-thinking 1-2 with Tomas Brady. The good work from Conor McHugh created this chance for Kevin McManaman, who pointed to give Dublin a 9-3 lead at half-time. Roscommon began to turn it around after the interval, and they kicked the first 3 scores of the second half, with Conor Devaney, Donald Shine and Kieran Murtha on target to start a fight back. Dean Rock and Murtha exchanged frees before Murtha scored his 3rd point of the day with his fine effort to leave just 3 between the teams. Roscommon's hopes of a comeback looked to have been dashed when the impressive Rock played a swift 1-2 with Owen O'Gara before coolly slotting the ball to the back of the net. Roscommon responded instantly, however, with a goal of their own. A high ball into the square was met by Senan Kilbride, who flicked the ball over Dublin goalie Michael Savage. Determined defending from the western side, capped off with scores from Donald Shine and Fenton Craig, left just 2 points between the sides, before Shane Carty kicked over his 2nd point for the Dubs. Roscommon had a goal disallowed moments later for a square ball, before points from Murtha and Conor Devaney reduced the deficit to 1. But the comeback wasn't enough as Dublin held on for a 1-point victory. Dublin now make the semi-finals with a 100% record and will face Donegal, while Roscommon will play Kerry. It finished in Carrick-on-Shannon. Dublin 113, Roscommon 112.
Great game for both both teams, and Roscommon ourselves now looking at a semi-final game in a week's time. Difficult underfoot conditions for both sides, but I thought they made the most of it, and all credit to Leitrim County Board for making Carrick-on-Shannon available to both teams.
Yeah, half-time wasn't looking so good for us, and we did ask them for a big effort, but why we're getting into these positions where we're chasing the game is something we're not happy with, in that we're leaving ourselves too much to do. But second half, yes, I am happy with we couldn't have asked for more really, and very unlucky not to get a point out of it in the end really.
And Rory O'Connor, the reporter there in Carrick-on-Shannon. Carrick-on-Shannon, of course, Desi, not Dr. Hyde Park. You heard people talking about it in the report there. Should this have happened?
It shouldn't have happened, no. Last weekend, Mayo played there. The pitch was in extremely poor condition. I went down to Roscommon myself on Friday to have a look at this pitch everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
In fairness, on Friday, the pitch was playable. There was lots of men down there doing plenty of work, and Verty drained the pitch and there was sand, so it looked decent. But I suppose Mother Nature played its part in a bit of overnight rain. But for the Dublin supporters, it was called off way too late. And in fairness to Roscommon, they've got an awful lot right in the last couple of years. They're doing extremely well. In 2011, they were a Division 4 team. Now they're qualifying for semi-finals. The great Club Rossi is very good, great county board generally, but like the thing that's problem at the minute is this pitch. It's for 30 years been a bad pitch. It's bumpy, it's lumpy.
And why is that?
It's bumpy, lumpy, it's not a good pitch. In this day and age, most pitches are all weather. You can play in it, like as much as you want. But Roscommon had 7 games this year. They played 7 games in 7 different venues. And if there's one aspect the Roscommon County Board need to look at, and I think they will look at it, I think they've committed to doing up the pitch, is the pitch itself.
Because the difficulty for the Roscommon County Board is the pitch is vested with the club in Roscommon.
Well, I suppose there's issues there, Roscommon Gaels and Roscommon County Board, so it depends. I think they need to iron that out. That's not for me to discuss. They need to iron that out themselves and figure out a way that they can invest in the pitch, make it up to standard, because today was really disappointing. And in fairness to Dublin supporters, like they got down to Roscommon, then they realised that they'd get a bus to Carrick-on-Shannon, and Carrick didn't look too good there either. It was fairly wet as well.
No, true. All right, let's talk about the other game, Aaron, this one between Monaghan and Donegal. Monaghan preserving their Division 1 status. And at the end of that match, and it was an exciting finish to the game, a lot of the Monaghan supporters came running onto the field. This was like sort of winning the Ulster title to them, kind of.
Yeah, it was. And I think it nothing to do with football, but maybe the fact that it was moved from Clonus, where they've played most of their games, to a smaller, more compact venue in Castleblaney. I think it had an impact on it. The crowd really got behind them. Got off to a really bad start, as Malik O'Rourke said. But in fairness to them, if there's one team that's been able to get the better of Donegal this past number of years, particularly in Ulster, it is Monaghan. And regardless of the bad start or the number of defeats they've had this past number of weeks, they eked out a win. Their main men stood up again, their leaders. And you've seen Colin Walsh kicking a super point at the very end.